We have Joey in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Hi, you there?
Yeah, yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're on TV.
I'm an ex-fundamentalist Christian, and I'm a big fan of the show. You guys have really helped me out, sort of work things out, so appreciate that. And I would just like to have you guys comment on 2 points, and I can just take my question off the air when I'm done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So the first is there's this idea in Christianity that it's a relationship with Christ, in that prayer is a method of strengthening that relationship and sort of developing oneself in Christ. And you guys, I think Matt, have previously stated that prayer sort of violates this idea of free will, because in praying you're sort of asking God to intercede on humanity's behalf and sort of be active. And I agree. But most fundamentalists would say that prayer is the acknowledgement of God's will and the willingness to do so. And if you guys could just comment on that, that'd be great. And the second question is, you've also stated in the past that the story of Jephthah's sacrifice of his daughter is a form of human sacrifice, and again, I agree. But modern Christians sort of rationalize this by saying that this is a story that is less about making promises with God and being really careful that you're not going to make the wrong promise, or you might lose something pretty important. And they sort of say that Jephthah wouldn't have had to sacrifice his daughter had he not made that promise in the first place. And if you guys could please comment on those 2 points, I'll be happy to take my call off the air. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joey.
Yeah, it's not like when it's not like when somebody promises to sacrifice somebody that God would do something obvious like jump out of the bushes and say, oh, actually you don't need to sacrifice that person at all. Oh, wait, didn't he do that to... I'm sorry.
Isaac, Abraham?
Isaac,
yeah.
yes, Abraham.
It's what kind of it's funny. I mean, it's just sort of all of these things in the Bible that point to God being a real jerk, right? And Christians are like, okay, well, that's just a story. It's a metaphor.
The most interesting attempt I've heard to rationalize away the story of Jephthah is actually somebody who nitpicks the wording of the Bible and says, oh, it didn't actually say he killed her, it just said he did what he had promised. And then they make a big deal about her, like, bewailing her virginity, but not her impending death.
Oh, I see.
And so it was like, actually...
So that just makes it all better.
If you read between the lines, she actually went off and joined a nunnery or something. Or I mean, she became celibate, and that's what that was the sad thing.
So it's all back down to the old "you're not interpreting the Bible properly" thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the most extreme cases of biblical reinterpretation I ever saw, because when I went back over the passage, it says he promised to sacrifice the first thing that came through his door, and then it says the first thing that came through his door was her, and then it says he did what he promised. I mean, I know that you can kind of screw around with with metaphors and stuff, but if the Bible is that badly written, then you really shouldn't be going on it as a guide anyway.
Well, or especially if it says things very clearly, but then doesn't mean what it says.
Yeah, it means the opposite of what it says.
Yeah. But this is fascinating. You will hear a lot of Christians argue for the Bible is a source of morality, God is a source of morality, right? And then they have to do all of this intellectual gerrymandering when you suddenly wave the Bible at them and say, well, here's an example of your God doing something amazingly immoral, right?
Yeah.
What's interesting is they know that's to be the case, right?
Of course they do.
This is a very wrong thing to do. So, but they can't just cross that line to say...
I would argue that if somebody went in not knowing anything about what biblical morality meant and not having the context of all this, what liberal Christians say, man-made religion, if they just went in and read the freaking Bible and read it as meaning what it appeared to mean, you could not get away from the conclusion that God that God supported this promise of human sacrifice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why is the story even in there? Why bother bringing it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't have this literalistic reading of the Bible, then, I mean, there's the only real way to come at this morality that you guys want to have is to filter it through the things that you already understand. From society and from
Right.
your upbringing are good and bad. And that's the only reason why you would reinterpret the Bible to say, oh, that passage doesn't really say what it says. It really says this thing that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
You're not getting your morality from the Bible.
No, you're attempting to make the Bibles very immoral passages, passages that you know to be morally dubious at best, and you're trying to shoehorn them into a morality that you know to be contemporary and secular and stuff that you've simply gotten from your day-to-day life. In this day and age, yeah, if you were to, a parent to agree to kill their own child for any reason, it would be a monster. And so in order to make
But
it...
it's right there in the Bible.
But if it happens in the Bible, okay, then it's got to be okay in some context. Therefore, I simply have to contrive the context, through all sorts of, mental gymnastics. All right. Oh, that's right. He also wanted us to talk briefly about, the personal relationship Christians think they have to God.
I'll defer to you on that. I don't know anything.
Oh, well, for the very brief time in my life that I was a Christian, I can't ever claim to have felt that way.
Okay.
But having been in that environment some, I think I kind of know what it's about. I think that it's, maybe it's just a very simple form of psychology that, makes people always want to believe that you have a parent, so that, looking over your shoulder, watching after you, keeping you safe. It's a bit of emotional comfort. And I think it's one way in which Christians attempt to distinguish their religion from other religions. In fact, I hear that many times from a lot of Christians. It's like, oh, all those other religions are religions, right? But Christianity is not really a religion. Christianity is a relationship, and so it's more along
I
the
can't
terms of how
think
they're
of any other
packaging it
relationship
and selling
where believing that the target of your relationship exists is contingent on having a relationship of faith.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else I know, my son, my friends, my parents, every other relationship, pretty much the being acquainted with this person came before the relationship.
Yeah. It's
As an actual real thing that exists.
never said it made sense, Russell. That's just kind of how they do it.
Yeah.